Добар ден, почитувани гледачи. Ова е емисијата Македонско издание, која редовно се емитува секоја втора сабота во 12:30 часот на Роджерс телевизија, каналите 10, 63 и во High Definition 510. Репризата е во четвртак во 5:30 попладне, после оригиналното емитување на истите канали. Денеска е 2 април 2016 година и во наредните 30 на минути ќе бидеме заедно со емисијава што веќе 18 години ве информира и ве забавува. Јас сум Победа Пискачева, продуцентот, уредникот и водителот и монтажерот на оваа програма, и на самиот почеток сакам да ви се заблагодарам што одлучивте во наредниве минути да бидете заедно со нас во ова саботно попладне. Во емисијава продолжуваме со материјалот што го снимивме од 44-та Гоцева вечер, која во организација на Обединети македонци се одржа на 6 февруари годинава во банкетната сала на Свети Климент Охридски во Торонто. На одбележувањето на 144-та годишнина од реаѓањето на великанот на македонската историја Гоце Делчев, гостин од Аризона беше Джейсон Мико, почесниот македонски конзул во Аризона, Соединетите американски држави и продуцент на познатиот документарец Името си е име. Во една од претходните емисии го проследивте интервјуто што го направивме со него, а во минатата емисија првиот дел од неговиот говор. Денеска продолжуваме со неговите забелешки како експерт за надворешна политика на Соединетите американски држави и НАТО и нивното влијание врз Македонија.
As Elizabeth mentioned, I'm the honorary consul of the Republic of Macedonia to Arizona. I sit on a couple of boards over there and produced the film, Name is a Name, which some of you have seen. And that deserves just a really quick story in and of itself. In the summer of 2007, some friends of mine in the government of Macedonia were preparing the World Conference among religions and civilizations at Lake Ochre that fall. And they asked me if I knew of anybody who had some international recognition and might have a philosophical, spiritual, theological understanding of things, would come to Lake Ochre to speak. So I reached out to my contacts, and the only person I knew that fit that criteria was a Norwegian by the name of Morten Harket. Does anybody know that name? Morten Harket? Yes, sir. Okay, a few over here. Morten Harket's the lead singer of a band called Aha. Anybody heard of Aha? Okay, a few? Yeah. Those of you who have not acknowledged it, I promise you, you know it. Their breakout song in 1985 was Take On Me. Okay. So, massively popular band back then and even now. But Morten agreed to come to Lake Ochre and speak, believe it or not. So he came down with his manager, Sigurd Anderson, and I hung out with a massively famous rock star at Lake Ochre for 2 days. And both men got to know a little bit about Macedonia, about the name issue. And then went away, and we stayed in touch. In the spring of 2008, I went up to Oslo for the release party. Morten was working on a solo album at the time, Letter from Egypt. So I went to Oslo for the release party, talked to both men. Both men were upset, to say the least, about what Greece is doing to Macedonia. Both men had made a documentary about East Timor and their plight. Sigurd was a filmmaker by profession. So Sigurd said, man, why don't we make a documentary about this? Why don't we put a spotlight on the issue, tell Macedonia's story? I had never made a documentary in my life, so I said, how difficult can that be? So I said, sure, we'll do it. So we did. 2008. Sigurd was the director. He was also, if you've seen the film, he's the thread, the man on the motorcycle throughout the film. I'm the producer. Sir Andrew Motion, the UK Poet Laureate for 10 years, gave us his voice. He was the narrator of the film. We had a number of musical artists donate music to it, including Morten Harket, who gave us a song from his album, Letter from Egypt. The song is A Name is a Name. Graham Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young gave us a song. The Icelandic band Sigur Rós, which some of you younger people may know of, gave us a song, and others as well. And then, of course, we couldn't have done it without the talent of the Macedonian producers, FX3X, who have worked on some fantastic Hollywood blockbusters in the field of CGI, and my co-producer, Alexander Bilov, who brought the whole thing together. So we produced it. Actually, the world premiere was here in Toronto in 2009 at the Macedonian Film Festival. And from there we took it around, we took it to Australia, in the States of course, and as well as Europe, to tell the story about Macedonia's name and about Macedonia's identity. And we had a fun time doing it, and hopefully we did some good things. Tonight I want to talk to you about three things briefly. U.S. foreign policy towards Macedonia, NATO, and the name and identity. Now, this is as of today, U.S. foreign policy. Of course, U.S. foreign policy changes in any government. But as of today, I can fairly say that Macedonia and the United States are allies, they're friends, they're partners. They cooperate on many different issues, whether it's human trafficking, drug interdiction, and things of that nature. USAID, U.S. Agency for International Development, has put in $1 billion into Macedonia since 1995. So the two are friends and partners, as any country should be. Having said that, however, I do think that oftentimes Washington's policy towards Macedonia is one of benign paternalism, benign indifference. Oftentimes in that area, Macedonian politicians, certain Macedonian politicians, certainly nobody here, will go to the American ambassador, will go to the European ambassadors at the first hint of trouble, and will ask them to intervene. And so the Washington ambassador and the Brussels ambassador and the European ambassadors will go ahead and intervene. Too often, I think, foreign ambassadors in Macedonia are treated like royalty. And they don't have to be. They put on their pants on a leg at a time, just like everybody else. So that's kind of an overview. Second point, I want to address kind of maybe the elephant in the room. Certainly, I'm sure there's some folks here, some folks back in the homeland who think that U.S. foreign policy towards Macedonia is one of wanting to see Macedonia wiped off the face of the map. I promise you, that's not the case. Washington does not want to see Macedonia wiped off the face of the map. It's not in Washington's interest to see Macedonia go on. It's not in Washington's interest to see Macedonia implode from civil war or to see Macedonia's neighbors take over Macedonia. I have yet to hear a plausible explanation from somebody who believes this as to why it would be in Washington's interest. Washington wants to see Macedonia as a free, independent, and sovereign nation state. But as I said, too often I think it's one of benign paternalism. Third, it is true that there are times when Washington would like to see Macedonia do the right thing, change your name, change your identity so that you can finally get into NATO. That's not going to happen. No. Washington wants Macedonia in NATO because Macedonia says it wants to be in NATO. Therefore, Washington is going to, and of course we know Greece has put on an effective veto. Washington and Brussels and other NATO member states are going to put pressure on whichever state, Macedonia or Greece, that they think will cave in first, that they think is the weakest link. Sometimes it's Macedonia, sometimes it's Greece. Right now, because Greece has been going through 6 years of self-imposed pain, Washington's reluctant to kick a man when he's down. But Washington would actually like to see you change your name and identity in order to get into NATO, so that NATO can then be whole, free, and at peace, as Washington likes to say. Fourth point, there's a tendency by Washington and other countries to preach to Macedonians, as well as other countries, saying, do as I do, do as I say, not as I do. The most recent case was this Thursday. The United States mission to the OSCE, Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, put out a statement about Persian, in which it said, among other things, that it would like to see a separation, more of a separation of party and state. But the problem that I see with this is that Macedonians aren't fools. Macedonians aren't ignorant. They read the news, they read the press, they see what's going on. They see what happened between Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State and the Clinton Foundation. So if Washington wants Macedonia to listen, Washington must lead by example, and too often that doesn't happen. So those are my 4 points on U.S. foreign policy in Macedonia.
Next, I would like to introduce Ensemble Macedonka, an award-winning Macedonian folklore dance group and one of the most popular in North America. Led by choreographer Alec Petlichko, Ensemble Macedonka has performed since 1959 and represented the Canadian Macedonian community at festivals, events, and competitions in Canada, the United States, Australia, and Europe. They most recently returned from a memorable tour in Macedonia this past summer. To honor Goce Delchev and all Macedonian freedom fighters, we'd like to invite Ensemble Macedonka to perform Komitsko Oro, a traditional folk dance that represents the battles of the Komiti, the Macedonian freedom fighters, and their voivoda, their leader. Welcome, Ensemble Macedonka.
А сега во продолжение проследете дел од документарецот Ден во Македонија.
Macedonia is the bride of mythology. Its treasures are there for everyone who wishes to explore them. From the ancient past, from the womb of its soil, archaeologists have retrieved, in their full originality, the goddess of fertility, the Tetovo Maenad, the Treblinishte masks, and the Ohrid Isis. You can partake of the fascinating past of the ancient cities of Heraclea, Stobi and Skupi, with their amphitheatres, and indeed feel like a worthy descendant of ancient Macedonia, of Rome, or of the Byzantine Empire. With gentle step, you can walk through the magic beauties of its mosaics, take part in the ritual games in its amphitheatres, explore the early Christian baptistry, the scenes telling stories of love. See the heads of emperors and lacrimatories in which princesses once kept their tears. Faced with this abundant treasure, you'll be amazed and overwhelmed by the originality of the terracotta icons discovered near Vinica Kali. You will hear of Christianity preached by the Apostle Paul in Macedonia, where his encounter with the Macedonian woman Lydia, as recorded in the Acts of the Apostles in the Bible, is mentioned for the first time. Macedonia is a land of lakes and monasteries. Its lakes have preserved the material culture, and its monasteries and churches the spiritual culture of its people. As many as 365 churches exist in Ohrid alone, in the town also known as the Slavic Jerusalem. There, amid the mysticism of the Middle Ages, St. Clement was to establish the first Slavic university. The oldest Slavonic texts date back to the 12th century AD. Among the masterpieces of sacral architecture to be found amid this Byzantine serenity, we should single out the artistic achievements of the fresco painters Michael and Eutychius. It is a fascinating fact that the fresco of the Lamentation of Christ in the church of St. Panteleimon at Neresi was painted some 140 years before Giotto's Pietà. Some scholars believe that it is to this fresco that the roots of the European Renaissance can be traced. The Ottoman Turks appeared and flew over the entire land like birds of the air. This was the 14th century. It marked the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of a new era. Macedonia was not left out of this process. The Ottomans were to stay in the territory of this land for 5 centuries, and they have left signs of their cultural heritage. It is said that there is no mosque in the world quite like the Painted Mosque, or indeed anything similar to it. Nearly a third of the Macedonian population can satisfy their spiritual needs in the numerous Muslim religious buildings.
И во денешнава емисија имаме неколку информации за сите ваши прослави и одбележувања. Користите ги банкет салите во црквата Свети Климент Охридски во Торонто. За информации и резервации јавете се на 416-421-7451. Канадското македонско место во Торонто е пензионерски дом кој ви обезбедува угодно и хармонично живење. За повеќе информации побарете ја Златка на 416-755-9231. Познатите европоп звезди од 80-тите настапуваат во Оквил, Сандра и Саваж, двете диско легенди со кои пораснавме. Концертот е во петок на 8 април 2016 во 8 часот навечер во The Meeting House, 2700 Bristol Circle, Оквил, раскрсница Уинстон Чърчил и Дандас. Картите можат да се обезбедат на www.ticketwindow.ca или на телефон 647-892-7799. Дојдете сите, не пропуштајте да се забавувате и уживате со диско музиката од 80-тите. Тоа е се што подготвивме за ова македонско издание.
That Oh,